I'm Daniel Fisher here at Sweetwater Sound, and I've been visited by Aaron Higgins of 1010 Music, which means we probably have another handheld synthesizer. I've already had a bunch of fun with the Nanobox Fireball, that's a wavetable synthesizer, the Nanobox Lemon Drop, which is a granular synthesizer, and now we have the Nanobox.
This is the Nanobox Razzmatazz. This is a drum synthesizer. We were inspired to build out a rhythm-based version of the Nanobox, something that could do the drum section of your tabletop ensemble. You've got leads, you've got textures, and now you can have the rhythm player to go along with it. We worked really hard to pull in a bunch of different types of synthesis. We did a whole bunch of research on different drum machines from today and from many years ago, and we think we came up with something that sounds amazing and different and is kind of the best of both worlds of digital synthesis and samples.
And you got tons of drums in there, but I can add any .wav file, right, for more drums?
That's right. All our products run from micro SD cards. That means you can easily transport it to your computer.
So I get that this is our mixer, and I get that this is our sequencer for these three right now. But all of the effects are absolutely built into this thing, right?
That's right. Everything is internal. The Nanobox Razzmatazz has a reverb, delay, and a cabinet distortion I'll show you later. So what you're hearing is dry from the perspective of the mixer, and we're not even using the Blackbox for audio at all. So it's really 3 Nanoboxes with built-in effects.
And I saw you play live, but this also has built-in drum machine sequences, presumably.
That's right. In addition to being able to play notes internally or from an external sequencer, you've got a 64-step sequencer internally, and you've got 16 of those. You can really do quite a lot on the box without any external help.
And like the other two, they run off USB, which means you could go out in the woods and play with this thing if you want.
That's right. They're really power efficient. You could hook up to a USB battery. You could hook it up to your car or the airplane or kind of wherever USB power can be found.
And like the other two, I'm assuming it has line in?
Yes, it's got a line in that you can use to process other devices with the internal effects.
Cool.
You can also use that to record samples. And you can even record longer sketchpad type things of many hours if you like.
So walk me through some of the screens.
Sure. Let me first talk about loading presets. It's really easy to press the top and pull up new presets. This is one of my favorite presets. It's very dirty and dark. So I'll play you first the entire sequence, and then we'll drill in a bit and go into each of the drums. For each pad, you can drill down one layer and you get the macro page. And you've got 8 controls custom tailored to a given sound. In this case, you've got the kick parameters, and it's got basic enveloping, basic pitch bending, some additional parameters like snap, the click, and filter and distortion. So all these things can shape the sound in different ways, and they're great things to be playing with live because they're the fundamentals. On the next page, you get a sense of what the detailed architecture is. Here you can see you've got 2 oscillators, 2 waveform oscillators, and you've got the ability to load a wave. In this case, we're just doing the synthesis. But it's important to point out you've got 3 oscillators per voice, 2 synthesized and 1 sample. So you really get the best of both worlds in terms of being able to combine sounds. In addition, you'll see now that we have 2 filters, 2 envelopes. There's a third hidden envelope that's pitch bend, and then there's LFO, and a variety of effects per voice.
Wow.
When I drill into the effects, you'll see that there's a built-in resonator, there's built-in transient generator called snap, there's built-in distortion, and at the very bottom you see bit crushing and rate crushing. Next, I'd love to show you the sequencer. That's always one step away. Just press the main home button, and now you've got 16 different sequences to play with. In this case, only 1 is filled out, but if I press the right arrow, you'll see I've got a detailed view of this sequence. This is a really unique way to view notes because essentially you have 16 snapshots of the screen, so all 8 pads across 16 steps are shown here. Now you saw there that I added some kick sounds simply by swiping my finger across, and you can choose which pad is selected through the upper knob. So it's a matter of choosing which pad you're editing and then touching or dragging and filling out the notes. You've got 2 pages here, 16, and a second 16 on the second page here when I press the layer button. So hopefully you get a sense of just how easy it is to select whatever you want to do. In this case, it actually plays it when you're stopped. It will play the note that you're editing. So you've got a really good sense of what you're doing, and it's fun and easy to work with.
And if I understand it right, you're telling me now that there are 16 unique sequences per preset.
That's right.
And each of those has their own editing window.
That's right. So 16 times 64 steps across all pads.
Okay.
It's polyrhythmic in the sense that you can have different lengths. You can have a 12-step sequence or a 37-step sequence and jump back and forth between them. And they will seamlessly be stitched together.
So if I wanted to use an external sequencer, how would I do that?
The easiest way is to use the TRS MIDI. That's how we're connecting to the Blackbox right now. You can use type A or type B. It automatically senses.
Clever.
And it's capable of sending type A or type B. So all you need to do in this situation is just chain them together.
So we don't need any of the adapters because they're all TRS 3.5 millimeter.
That's right.
Okay.
And of course, you've got the internal sequencer, which is great as a way to synchronize to external clock, or you could just drive the notes from an external sequencer if you prefer.
So I'm really digging the effects, and I heard you say that you can have individual effects per drum, right?
That's right. Each drum has a resonator, a snap generator, distortion in the form of solid state distortion and bit crushing and rate crushing. Plus there's also global effects. All at the same time. In addition to that, per pad, you've got a reverb, delay, and cabinet distortion for the entire box.
With send levels per drum?
Send levels per drum. Nice. Here's your mixing per pad, and then here's your sends. You've got an effects 1 and 2 sends.
Okay.
As you page right from here, you've got your delay settings. This is the ping pong delay that you've remarked on other products. It also has reverb functioning at the same time. And lastly, I wanted to introduce the cabinet distortion. One of the things we did in researching this was I was fortunate enough to approach Roger Lynn and ask him, what would you do in a digital drum machine? And this was the idea he suggested, which was you need to build a distortion algorithm that models a big speaker cabinet that a guitar player would use. And that includes some special filtering, modeling the transition, the sort of how the sound would be shaped through tubes or solid state, and then lastly some post filtering and even a comb filter. So it sounds really cool, and to demonstrate that, let me show you this next part by playing a sequence, and then we're going to adjust the cabinet distortion amount while we listen. And you'll hear that it's a very boring dry drum pattern by itself, but with the distortion, it's a fantastic, rich, window shaking kind of thing. That's just one example of how the effects really bring this thing to life, and it's way more than just an analog piece or even a simple digital piece. It's a full ensemble of drums.
So let's do a couple more sequences, and then I want to hear all three together, because that's what I came here for.
Sure, let me set this one up briefly. This is something that uses a lot more samples and has more realistic sound effects, but it shows the range of the box. And now here's something a little more electronic.
All right, very cool. Now let me hear all three, and for those who don't know what they are, tell them about the Blackbox and the Bluebox.
Sure. So Bluebox is our digital mixer and recorder. It takes 6 stereo inputs. It can apply effects, but in this case, it's not. It's just dry.
Okay.
On the right-hand side is Blackbox, which we're strictly using today as a sequencer, just to drive the Fireball and add some depth to it. You could replace that with anything in this particular instance, a circuit, a torso, kind of you name it. It's just playing a small part in this ensemble. Here's a kind of spooky one for Halloween.
One more.
All right, you asked for it.
hard to believe all that's coming from those 3 boxes. And to be clear, none of the music or effects are coming from either of these. That is just those 3 boxes.
Glad you like it.
So if you have any further questions about any of the Nanobox series or any 1010 Music product, please contact your Sweetwater sales engineer. My name is Daniel Fisher. This is Aaron Higgins of 1010 Music. Thank you very much for watching.
Thanks for having me.